Grand evening. Hi, my name is Leonard Munson, the Psychic Astrologer. My website is readingsbyleonardmunson.net. The weekly overview, Taurus Virgo Capricorn. From June the 19th to the 26th, 2025. Let's talk about what have you learned while the sun is moving through the astrological sign of Gemini, and how to communicate what you want. Taurus, your solar sun is in the second house, which is Taurus. House of love, finances, work, possession, beauty, luxury, and the finer things. Now, this ruling planet is Venus. Now, some of you have been having blinders on about how to communicate in a situation that may have to do with something to do with your work, your finances, and your money. Also, with the sun in Gemini, you have the ability to communicate it directly without using emotions. Because when you use emotions, it confuses you instead of your intelligence. You're working outside of your intelligence, and emotions will cause you to be unfocused, confused, and make wrong decisions. Now, with putting your emotions below that, use your intellect and making the action, moving towards to resolve this issue. Mercury, which is the ruling planet of Gemini. This may have something to do with your foundation, your home, your family, security, and women, particularly women involved with this. And also not trusting your own intuition and listening to it and avoiding making mistakes. So some of you did not listen to your intuition from the beginning, and this created problems. Mars, the bigger the force to drive, the passion, the energy, the sensuality, the aggression, war. And where you had to make a decision. You could not get out of your head and overthink. You had to make a decision to communicate with this issue that you've been avoiding. And it kept on getting bigger and bigger. Jupiter, expansion, growth, abundance, blessing, wealth, karma, and the truth, has opened up opportunity for you to address this, Taurus. But with those blinders on and being stubborn, you didn't. So it just built up and built up and built up. So the frustration in you and the parties built up too. Saturn, it tore down that old foundation, that approach that you had about communicating. You had to build yourself on a new foundation. You all have to look at the details about this frustration, about this communication. You had to analyze it and observe it. So you had to think outside the box and have open-minded. You had to speak your truth, and you had to try to use it in a diplomatic way and use diplomacy. Because when you saw it from the beginning, if you have addressed it, it would not frustrate you and put you in this state of being. Neptune in Pisces was illusion, fantasy, head in the clouds, rose-colored glasses, deception, and lies. In other words, a good liar is blessed with memories. And again, you didn't use your intuitiveness to address it from the beginning. And this is where it got out of hand. So it had to take action. Pluto in Aquarius retrograding. You were reviewing when this, a planet going backwards is reviewing when it's going direct. So you reviewed every time that you should have said something and communicate your displeasure with this situation. So it happened all of a sudden, but it brought you freedom and independence. The North Node, these are lessons you need to learn about fear and speaking your truth. when it needs to be spoken. Liveth in Scorpio, it brought an ending to this. Stop being the wounded warrior and be a survivor, Taurus. The next sign is Virgo. Virgo, your solar sun is in the 10th house. The 10th house is Capricorn. It deals with prestige, employment, success, and moving up the ladder. It also deals with Father Time, corporation, government, lessons learned. Its ruling planet is Saturn. Saturn taught you how to tear down that old thought process and build on a better thought and communication process. And think outside the box and have open-minded and take action. The Sun in Gemini deals with communication. You had to communicate it because it was going towards that way of Virgo. Taking the emotions out of it and using your intelligence and making action. Okay? Using the communication factor and not your emotions. And you did not trust your intuition from the get-go. If you had done it, you could address that issue then. You let it simmer and simmer. Venus, you had blinders on, stubborn. You wouldn't listen. So you let it build up. You're getting more frustrated. And it would start putting stress on you. And then it was attacking your physical body, the weak part of your immune system. Mars, the energy, the vigor, the force, the drive, the passion, the sensuality, the aggression, the war. So you had to become aggressive. You had to pay attention to make a decision. Stop overthinking. You had to pay attention to detail. You had to analyze it. Opportunities came up for you to address this issue. This issue has something to do with communicating, something to do with time or money. And it was chaotic. And it was causing a lot of upheaval. But then you had to address it, and it brought you freedom and independence. A lot of fear, a lot of doubt, a lot of illusion, a lot of lies. But you had to address it. Pluto in Aquarius retrograde and reviewing when it was going to record what mistakes you made, correct it. So you did correct it. And these are the lessons you need to learn about communicating what you want, what you don't want when the North Node is in Pisces. Liveth in Scorpio, taking the emotions out and addressing it and bringing an end to it. And stop being the wounded warrior and be a survivor, Virgo. The next sign is Capricorn. Capricorn, your solar sun is in the 6th house, which is Virgo. It's a house of health, work, and service to others. Okay? Making a decision. Analyzing it. Not overthinking. A decision that needs to be made, and you made it. And Virgo ruling planet is Mercury, as the same as Gemini. So you both, Gemini and you are both at the ruling planet, and you had to communicate it. Okay? And Virgo. Taking the emotions out and taking the action. Speaking your truth. Taking the blinders off. It has something to do with a service or something to do with health. Opportunities came up prior and you didn't do it. So it all came to the head this week. That old foundation of how you thought about it was wiped out. You had to put in a stronger new foundation, and you had to think outside the box and have an open-minded and take action. You had to speak your truth, whether they liked it or not. The fear, the doubt, the illusion, no more. You had to take action. Pluto in Aquarius retrograde. When a planet is retrograding, it's moving backwards. You're reviewing and correcting it, and that's what you did. These are the lessons you learned with the North Node in Pisces. You must communicate what you don't like, what you want, so people can understand it. And it has something to do with disrespect, too. Liveth in Scorpio, endings.